Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Good afternoon everybody, Militia Man and Crew. Welcome to this Monday night, and we're going to get it started quite quickly. Hey look, there's a few articles that came out since April, and then again over the weekend. And some of it seems to be a little bit oriented politically, so I'm not going to get into the politics of it. But the bottom line is that we have had over many years different administrations either side of the fence. Interestingly enough, though, when it comes to Iraq and if you follow the money, it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on. Okay, that's my opinion of it anyway. It says J.P. Morgan, Trump's attempt to weaken the dollar will face obstacles. And it's just a scenario where that they're suggesting that there's going to be devaluation. If you remember back in 2020, there was problems with currency manipulation, and a lot of countries were being targeted at that time for unfair advantage. I think China was one, Vietnam was another, etc. And they put in some international laws in place to take care of that, hopefully, and maybe we're going to see some of that coming up in the near future. But basically, the Federal Reserve, J.P. Morgan reports that the independence of the Federal Reserve and the lack of cooperation from other countries could hinder the possible efforts of a second term for a previous administration to devalue the dollar. And there's some people, J.D. Vance, they talk about the vice president, they talk about Trump, they talk about other people. They express, though, that they have a desire to devalue the currency of the United States dollar. I'm not so sure that's exactly the way it should read, because think about it for a minute. If the dollar is stable to where it is today, for instance, right? Obviously, it has a lot less purchasing power than it did back in 1913. We're not, I think we all know that. But ultimately, against a basket of currencies, it's relatively strong still. And that's, you can see that compared to the euro, to the British pound, etc. It's still holding its own. And it's still the largest traded commodity currency in the world. And it hasn't been knocked off the shelf. Okay. So anyway, this Mike Feroli, chief American economist at J.P. Morgan, said in a memo on Thursday, 10/10, he had some things that he was talking about, that they were purposely devaluing the U.S. dollar by pressing other countries to alter their own currency values, and that would represent the most aggressive proposal yet in the future attempts to reshape global trade. It says currency revaluation is likely to be a priority for some members of a potential second administration, mainly because of the viewpoint that has been out there based off of overvalued dollar contributes to the trade deficit. And it goes on to say that Mr. Lighthizer and his team are the primary advocates for the approach. So anyway, what are they talking about? Well, they got together after the pandemic, and they talked to finance officials already, they've been grappling with a lot of different things, and they were together in this spring. This was back in March, April of 2024, to talk to who? International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. And each of the former officials stressed that all the nuances of the currency policies are not worked out yet and could shift before or after the election. They're talking about the United States, so it could be before the election in November. It could be after. According to this, they don't say, but they're just talking about it. Basically, what I found interesting is about these two articles is that they invoke valuation and devaluation of currencies. Because there's two articles in this report that I've got, and they both date from I believe it's April 15th, 2024. Yeah, April 15th, 2024. And then it was, I just told you, it's 10/10/24. So that was just a few days ago. So anyway, regardless of where we are politically, the fact that the largest financial institutions in the world have been openly involved in discussions relating to valuation of currency and should have opened people's eyes to that. So when one of the largest banks in the world is talking about it, and speaking of these people, I think we should take it seriously, because if in fact the dollar was to stay the same and Iraq's currency values where we think it might be, where if it goes back to the glory days or to a previous era, where that everybody, well, a lot of people think it's going to be a reinstatement or plus a revaluation or whatever way you want to look at it. But obviously, a one USD at $3.22, for instance, I'm not saying that's the rate, but that as what it was before, obviously the dollar is significantly below the market value of the dinar. So anyway, that's a good article. The fact that it came out within a couple of days is really, just what, 4 days ago. I think that's powerful. So, and there again, it goes, you guys. It goes to show you that when people ask questions about is J.P. Morgan involved, and it's clearly they are. We have another article that's it's talking about the Minister of Industry inaugurates Baghdad's Industry and Mining Forum. You're going to see a little bit of this the last couple of days. And why? Well, mining is going to be really big in Iraq because they have some massive natural resource reserves. They have phosphates, they got sulfur, they got silica, they got gold. And obviously, we all know they have oil, liquid natural gas. They have all that. So mining is a big deal. It says that under the patronage of Prime Minister over the last 2 days, under the slogan "Mining is sustainable development and safe investment," he says that they've started a tangible, practical steps to activate the mining sector for conducting geological surveys of the country by specialized international companies and using the latest technologies. He goes on to say that they're basically getting ready and going through a real industrial renaissance in the country, and it requires a set of success factors, the most important and first of which are energy, specifically gas and electricity. He points out that the Ministry of Industry cannot achieve its set goals without everyone's cooperation and understanding of the requirements for achieving these goals. Taking the country to international levels, everybody, is going to be a major, major deal. And it's going to take a lot of time still. But they're going to have to get started, and they're going to have to go international to get it going. And I think that's where we are. He indicates that the current reality requires us to invest in developing our local industry in a way that keeps pace with technological transformations and the global economy. He stressed that Iraq has all the ingredients that qualify it to be a major player in the industrial sector, starting with human competencies, labor force, and ending with the provision of natural resources. He points out that our strategy and work plan are based on strengthening the industrial infrastructure in cooperation with other sectoral ministries, improving the investment environment, encouraging industries. He points out that working to build strategic partnerships with solid international companies to transfer technology and localize knowledge in a way that enhances our ability to compete in local and regional markets. They're definitely the digital transformation is coming upon them, and they're embracing it, and the citizens are embracing it, and therefore their success with it, with the youth of the population, is probably going to be really pretty strong. Mining is a rough work, but hey, they need engineers, they need surveyors, they need all kinds of different expertise to do the work. You have to have, you guys get the picture. The forum was attended by a Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs, a number of representatives, government officials, ambassadors, and large gatherings of businessmen, investors, representatives of local, Arab, and foreign private sector companies. So basically, it's interesting that Al-Alaq, the central bank governor, is right front and center in the photographs there. So you know that the central bank, when you look at the photograph, all the different men, businessmen, Al-Alaq is Al-Alaq is sitting right there in the center, so it's pretty neat. Anyway, they're basically keeping everybody apprised of what Iraq's goals are, and Iraq's offering encouragement to all of them in the aspects of investment, as the investment environment in Iraq now is better now than it's ever been, probably, that I could see, at least in the last 15 years. Rafidain Bank, it has an article out today. It says it announces the implementation, actually this was on Sunday, the implementation of the comprehensive banking system in 44 branches. It says that there's the implementation of the comprehensive banking systems in 44 branches. It says implementation of the government program to move from paper transactions to electronic ones to provide the best services to citizens. Rafidain Bank announced the implementation of the comprehensive banking system in Nasser Square and oil product branches in Baghdad and the Anbar Fari branches in Najaf to join the branches that have already been activated, and the comprehensive system in Baghdad, the other governance in addition to border crossing branches, and it's just, the list goes on. It talks about Zurbadia, Safwan, Arar, Treble, those are the border crossings, so that a number of branches that have implemented and completed the system becomes a total of 44. And there's scheduled timings, I like that part, scheduled timings to include all the bank branches in implementing the system. So basically, what are they doing? There's no stopping moving forward with Iraq's implementation of comprehensive banking systems and their reforms. 44 banks look to be now activated, as are the border crossings they mentioned. Digital transformation of Iraq is looking to be ready to interlink with the international and global financial system as I see it. I would think from Al-Alaq was at this gathering with the Mining and Sustainable Development Forum would be a key indicator of what is expected to come. I think there's powerful times ahead. Then the Parliamentary Investment Committee praises overcoming boring and financial process, calls for banking policy update. And so these parliamentary investment committees calling for radical change. Sounds like us. Banking policy in Iraq and providing benefits to encourage citizens to deposit their money in banks. Interesting piece right there. Encourage citizens to deposit their money in the banks. You're going to see something later this evening before I get done about that. The banking policy in Iraq is in dire need of radical change to encourage the citizens to deposit their money in banks by offering interest up to 40% annually. That's huge, you guys. Explaining that these interest rates will be a major factor in increasing trust between citizens and banking institutions. I wonder if that's 4% annually. I don't know, but it says 40%. Electric payment has made noticeable differences in the recent period, as amounts ranging from 3 and 4 trillion dinars were collected in just 2 months through Rafidain Bank. Adding that this money used to consume a lot of time and effort in boring paper operations, but now it's just an electronic number and is transferred directly to the relevant ministries. Digital is just going to be fast and furious. It's going to change their lives, everybody. This Minister of Parliament stresses that the importance of shifting towards a fully digital state, noting that this step will contribute to simplifying financial operations, provide reduction in costs, and increasing their transparency, and again, improving the services for their citizens. The digital economy will also give Iraq greater opportunities for growth and progress in the future. So ultimately, Iraq is looking for that radical change. Well, I guess when they join the international financial and global systems, I think that's going to be a radical change. I think Iraq's going to be an integral part of shoring up the system. I think we all know that that's been said, that they were going to restore confidence to the largest banks in the world and to the international financial system. So let's see if al-Sudani and his achievements still include that agenda. I think they probably will. This article here, it says, headed by the Prime Minister, Digital Transformation Committee approves the strategic plan and takes several decisions. So the Supreme Committee for Digital Transformation, which is headed by the Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani, approved on Sunday the strategic plan for transformation. While taking a number of decisions, it says the Prime Minister chaired periodic meeting for the Supreme Committee for Digital Transformation in Iraq, and during the meeting, the implementation of previous decisions and directives were reviewed, and practical procedures related to digital transformation in the public sector institutions were followed up on. Infrastructure development was talked about. ways to help accelerate this important digital transition. They want to contribute to improving the quality of services to provide for the citizens. Pretty sure we all know that that's one of al-Sudani's focuses. He's all about the citizens, and his achievements this year and last year have been well received by the public. It says here the Prime Minister stresses that the government's interest in the comprehensive digital transformation process, which has become a necessity in Iraq, and the 5-year development plan has adopted the process, pointing to the possibility of benefiting from the youth reality of Iraqi society to move towards a rapid implementation of this transformation. Notice how they're using the accelerate, rapid acceleration. So they got, as they say, they got to push on to get this accomplished. His Excellency also stressed the importance of thoughtful planning in this field due to its importance in achieving a development. What else is in this one? It says the Supreme Committee for Digital Transformation considered a number of presented files, they approved the technical report on the strategic direction to provide the requirements for digital transformation, which includes the methodology, the general principles for launching this process, the benefit, the successful experiences of others, countries similar to Iraq's situation, as well as the visions required to be adopted to achieve this transformation, so that the services provided to the citizens were the first idea for launching the digital transformation process in terms of service and even cybersecurity. And the committee goes on to agree the continuation cooperation with the United Nations Development Program with the aim of improving indicators that are related to the communications and information technology sector, and approved the Communications and Media Commission and Central Bank of Iraq to negotiate with international digital companies. So Iraq is clearly going international by what they have been telling the world and in their actions and by their achievements. Al-Sudani is going to do, he's probably going to go down in the history books for what? The savior of the country of Iraq? Probably. It holds true to the international financial system, probably too. I mean, that's probably going to be no joke. This is based off what has been accomplished already. The central bank is all that is needed, I think, for a change to her currency into a new digital environment now. So I think we should be smiling large about this time. We saw another article today. Al-Alaq has been talking to the German ambassador, and we might have a little bit more on that. But I would expect him to be making some sort of an announcement in the future. You would think he would anyway. The regional government has not handed over oil revenues to the state treasury. So this is Taif Sami, the Ministry of Finance. She's basically stated that on the 13th, which was yesterday, the meeting discussed the country's financial situation in light of global and regional developments, especially with regard to securing financial allocations for salaries, social care, the ration card, medicine, and other basic needs related to citizens' livelihoods. It says the files of spending, financing, and implementation of the federal budget items were also reviewed, in addition to reviewing the procedures and measures to maximize non-oil revenues, especially with regards to customs and taxes, investing state assets and real estate, automating collections, services in a way that ensures achieving a financial return that enables the government to fulfill its financial obligations and implement its service and development plans and programs. This gentleman, Atwani, goes on in his portion of the speech is saying, we seek to discuss ways to maximize the state's non-oil revenues by establishing scientific foundations for that, stressing that the total reliance on oil gives us an unstable economy and disrupts development plans. So their focus is on the non-oil revenues, you guys. It says the Finance Committee is working on preparing a detailed report with that will be submitted to the government, aiming to address the shortcomings and failures related to the file of maximizing non-oil revenues, especially in that electricity, tax, customs, and other financial outlets that enhance the state's treasuries and resources. I'm fairly sure they've been working on this for quite some time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have already seen data that kind of counters that because of the fact of the level of how much increased revenues they've got coming in. The necessity for reconsidering the estimation of state institution revenues, as we pointed out clear out a clear error in the Ministry of Finance estimates. He also renewed his call to reconsider customs exemptions and tax fees in a way that ensures not burdening the citizen and enhancing state revenues at the same time. So there's a little bit of contradiction in it, but to be fair, I'm pretty sure that what Tafe Sammy has in her presentation is probably the leg to stand on. That's what I would say. The fluctuations in the oil prices have caused problems in achieving revenues. And so again, what are they doing? They're calling on the Finance Committee to assist the ministry in the problem of non-oil revenues with the regional government. So they got to push to get the non-oil revenues to the state treasury. Since the issuance of the federal court's decision to pay the salaries of the Kurdistans, which is estimated at 13 trillion dinars, as all the Kurdistan regional government has paid is 320 billion dinars of its non-oil revenues. And they go on and talk about financial allocations over the next 6 months. And it sounds to me like the Kurds have a little bit of what they call sandbagging going on, and not surprising. But ultimately, what are they talking about? They're talking about getting a digital transformation component to paying salaries, etc., getting the monies out to the citizens and out to the projects and to the proper allocations for ministries and projects. So the Prime Minister of Iraq is witnessing unprecedented economic development and a stable political system. So the Prime Minister is boasting that they're witnessing unprecedented economic development and stable political system. So economic development is somewhat similar counter to that, because the non-oil revenues are downplayed in that particular article, whereas that's probably not the case. Iraq is witnessing unprecedented economic development and a stable political system, building balanced relations, confronting all corruption problems, and working on commercial and administrative reforms. We are turning into a promising country that represents a cornerstone in the stability of the Middle East, indicating that Iraq is working to activate a strategic framework agreement. All I aspire to is to serve the Iraqis, this is a quote from al-Sudani, and put Iraq first in our government policy, explaining that Iraqi people are currently living in a state of hope and optimism. And I have a feeling he's not going to be wrong on that one. And I think, let me see what I have here. It says, he's the one that said that the dinar will be stronger than the dollar. And he said it a couple times. And he hasn't done that yet. And he's going to be known for the year 2024 of the year of achievements. Well, there's still a couple left. The year's not over, but there are still a couple big ones. And one of them would be to see that the dinar would be stronger, like he had said. So we're hoping that he holds true to that, and we're going to find out within a short period of time, I hope. And here's an article, again, that I already mentioned that was out. Governor of the Central Bank of Iraq discusses the German ambassador enhancing financial inclusion plan in Iraq and the digital transformation. They're just hammering the digital transformation. They're hammering it home. Governor of the Central Bank, Ali Moshan Alak, discussed with the German ambassador, Ms. Christiane Homan, banking relations enhancing financial inclusion plan in Iraq, the importance of digital transformation, addition to providing full support to the Al Riyada Bank for financing small projects, which will launch its services soon. I think they probably got that set up as well. There's a great desire among the citizens to use electronic cards, so the citizens are they're happy about using them. They're probably going to be really happy about them if they start getting their hydrocarbon law payments on those cards, which enhances electronic payments in Iraq. It says the central bank has taken many steps in this direction in coordination with the relevant authorities. It says that the Al Riyada Bank will basically provide services to important segments of the customers. And basically, what are they trying to do? They're trying to help groups of society, and they want to open new horizons in a stable investment environment. And I'm pretty sure that that's basically what the German ambassador expressed, her readiness to provide advice and technical support for that. So I'm assuming we're going to see probably more to that story. But here, al-Assadi We have stipulated that the investment company should give Iraqi workers the largest share of job opportunities. Well, now they're talking about employment. And so the private sector, it says this gentleman on Monday, the minister's support for the private sector and investment companies is ongoing while setting a condition for continuing the support. He participated in this third session of the Baghdad International Forum for Industry and Mining. So here again, we're talking about mining, which is held by the Ministry of Industry for the purpose of investing in the field of mining and industries. It says the Ministry of Labor supports all the projects of the Ministry of Industry in this field. It supports the private sector and stimulates the field of investment. So everybody's pushing, let's go. The minister will continue to support workers in the private sector and support all investment companies, provided that the share of Iraqi workers is the largest share in all these companies. So if they do what they say they're going to do, they're going to be getting some concessions. And you scratch their back, the country's going to scratch your back. And so, to me, good business. And I think al-Sudani and his people know that. Here's an interesting article too, you guys. It's called Trade Bank of Iraq announces the imminent opening of a cash deposit center in Kark. It says Iraqi Trade Bank of Iraq, announced Monday the imminent opening of the cash deposit center in the Kark side. And they go on to say that the Prime Minister Mohammed al-Sudani is what he's going to do. He wants to provide the best services once again for the citizens. And it says, quote, the Trade Bank of Iraq announces the imminent opening of a cash deposit center. And this center receives all cash deposits for all customers, indicating, it says receives all cash deposits only, okay, for all customers. This is now a service that the bank will launch with the aim of providing the best services to customers and to contribute to reducing the pressure of cash deposits on other branches in Baghdad. So that tells you the story right there alone, is that they're going to have these deposits go to Iraqi Trade Bank because to alleviate stress on other banks having too many deposits. So that's phenomenal, because we all know that over the years that there's been a lot of Iraqis that have been hoarding cash. A lot of Iraqis may not know about a revaluation or a reinstatement or be fully educated on it, but there probably are a lot of bright people out there that realize when they say that they're going to be getting purchasing power, and if they reinstate their currency, because if they understand what the project to delete the zeros is about, that it hasn't gone away, those folks would hoard their cash. Okay, and so there's got to be a reason for them to have a cash deposit center. That's all it's for. Bring your money in, right? Walk out with the card saying that you have so much in your account. Yeah, get the cash off the street. It's just another way of doing it. It's phenomenal, and they'll use that money for what? Cash deposits were basically the bringing in cash. The bank can hold that cash and use it to help facilitate what? Lending for small, medium enterprises, okay? Infrastructure, finance. You guys, whoever's designed this whole thing is pretty brilliant, to be fair. The bank knows that there's a lot of hoarded money out there over the years, and so they're going to try and tap into that for, like I said, for lending to stimulate their economy and help with growth of the private sector. And we've all heard those stories, and we've seen the articles that talk about that. And this fits right on time, right in line with what they've been doing. And getting down to the wire here, I think I got just two more, you guys. Kurdish Forces 70 agree with the Trade Bank of Iraq to localize salaries of its members. So this is the same bank. And what are they talking about? They're talking about, we agree with the Trade Bank of Iraq, which is an Iraqi bank that has a branch in Suleimania, to settle salaries of the 70th Forces, so that's a unit, military, I believe, through this bank with the framework of the decision of the Federal Supreme Court. So basically, there's been two times we've talked about the Supreme Court tonight, and here's one of them, second one. Decision of the federal court. The court has made a decision that they need to localize their currency, one currency, from the federal government. And so, and one entity, not having to have a middleman who's the Kurdistan region. Al-Sudani basically, from the court, from my understanding of it, has the power to do this. And whether they like it or not, it's going to get done. That unified treasury account, we knew about that last year. And so they probably have everything ready to go. They've got 40 million national cards out, and they're getting more. They have checking accounts. They have the people getting the electronic cards. We already saw that Al-Sudani is telling you that people have a huge desire or a great desire to use electronic payments. So ultimately, this is great. It says the localization of salaries comes in accordance with a decision issued by the federal court, and implementation has become inevitable. So it's like nothing you can do about it. The localization is a great gain for the employees of the Kurdistan region, and their legitimate entitlements. I think we're going to be talking about their constitutional entitlements, you guys, also in the future. And is the only way to restore confidence in the employees or the retiree. It's fascinating. Like it or not, the Supreme Court made the decision that will need to be adhered to. So if the citizens, whether they like it or not, they're going to have to deal with it. That unified treasury account is already in place as far as I can tell. And this may already be at finalization stages as we speak. What we're going to find out, it says that in this article, it says that efforts are underway at full speed to open financial or open branches of federal banks in the Kurdistan region as soon as possible. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that's very telling. And this last article here is about the Ministerial Council recommends preventing the distribution of about 20 million tons of tea. Anyway, I won't even get into that. But anyway, ultimately what I want to get into is a key point in this. But you guys realize, I brought this up many times for over the years, the Ministerial Council for the Economy. That got started in late 2022, okay? And it is the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ministerial Council of the Economy, Fahud Hussein, Ministerial Council for the Economy, which is held in the Council building, the presence of the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Planning, Ministry of Finance, Trade, Industry, Labor and Social Affairs, the Secretary General of the Council of Ministers, the Governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, and the Prime Minister's advisors for economic and legal affairs. That lineup is the biggest players in Iraq. And this was yesterday, okay? And so why do I bring it up? Well, okay, it isn't about the 20 million tons of tea, but it says the council reviewed the report submitted by the Ministry of Trade on the third meeting of the working group concerned with Iraq's accession to the World Trade Organization, which was held in Geneva, and the council supported the Ministry of Trade's procedures by intensifying bilateral negotiations in this regard. And they go on to say in a different note, but that's right there, they talked about something that they did months ago. Okay, so it's been four more months since then. But I'll get back to it. The council also listened to the presentation by the technical team in the Ministry of Planning on how to use the electric platform to announce government tenders and purchases to reduce effort and time and ensure transparency and procedures to be available to all beneficiaries. Basically, you guys, according to the data that I have, it says Iraq's third meeting on the accession for the World Trade Organization in Geneva 2024 was held on July 18th. That's just a few months ago. Yeah, it says the third meeting of the Working Party on the accession of Iraq. The significance of this, it marked the formal resumption of Iraq's accession process to the WTO after a 6-year hiatus. Look, they have intensified the bilateral negotiations for the accession. They tell you that. No doubt in my mind that there's a push now, and there will need to be an internationally acceptable currency in place ahead of the accession. The lineup in the MCOE, Ministerial Council of Economics meeting, looks to me to have been stacked with all those that are at the highest levels of importance in Iraq's country and her future. So you guys, all of this, if you add it all up, you can see that they're doing digital transformation, they're doing financial inclusion, they're opening up banks for specifically just a bank for specific just for deposits to relieve other banks from getting too many deposits. They are talking about non-oil revenues, talking about all the things that will gear the economy into the private sector and support for the private sector. We have the mining and industrial sectors that they're talking about. They've had forums on it, and they're opening up to the world, as you can see. And now we'd like to say that, or I would like to see that Al-Alaq has something to say about that new central bank building. Okay, maybe give out a little bit more information on the border crossings with all the revenue streams that are coming through there. Obviously, mining deals, all the different energy deals, the interconnectivity with electricity from different countries like Jordan, etc., Saudi Arabia. All of those things are going to do what? They're going to help support the completed Port of Fa. The first 5 berths said they were completed. They were going to start testing the ships to bring in the goods, and they're ready to rock and roll. We had meetings with Turkey over water and trade, and many things have been going on behind the scenes, and just collectively you can just see that this country is ready to show their real deal. And I think that's going to be a real effective exchange rate, and I pray that it's a strong one, and that I think the citizens will get a rate that they deserve. I believe that from what we've read, that the central banks will defend their currency. We saw that there was I think it was the Iraqi Trade Bank, I believe it was. I could be wrong. I might have forgotten this one, but they have the ability to do be helpful in the international trade, facilitating currency trades. And so central banks defend the currency. Other small other international banks will facilitate the trading. And so at some point, when the dinar gets onto Forex, you're going to have banks in Iraq that will facilitate import-export trade and do the currency trading for them. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that happens anytime. So thank you for everybody for being with me tonight. I hope you enjoy our content. And if you do, please like, subscribe. And of course, thank you all for those donations that you guys put through Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal. They go a long way to keep everybody here working hard for you. Thank you very much. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.